Hello everyone, myself DC Jangid. Today we will discuss the solution of 2019 NTSC Stage 1 SST portion. So let's start with the questions. This is our first question. What is asked in this question? Question is very simple. Who of the following was not the courtier of Kanishk? We have given four options. First is Charak, the famous physician. Then second one is Megasthenes. Then third one is Nagarjun, and fourth one is Ashwaghosh. If you read these all statement, all names, then we will find that Megasthenes is the odd, because Megasthenes was present in the court of Chandragupta Maurya, while the others like Charak, the famous physician, Nagarjun, and Ashwaghosh. Nagarjun was the famous mathematician, while Charak was the famous physician who wrote Charak Samhita. And Ashwaghosh, Charak, Nagarjun, and Ashwaghosh, these all were present in the court of Kanishk, the Kushan ruler Kanishk, while Megasthenes was present in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. So that is why the right answer of this question is option second. Option second, Megasthenes was not in the court, or courtier Megasthenes was not in the court of Kanishk. So the right answer of this question is Megasthenes, option 2. Let's move to the next question. Let's move to the next question. This is our next question. It is plain and simple question. Who was the writer of Mudra Rakshas? Mudra Rakshas is a play which is, if you see the options, option number 1 Kalidasa, second one is Vishak Dutt, then third one is Amar Singh, and fourth one is Shudrak. Kalidasa, the great Sanskrit poet. So the right answer of this question is Mudra Rakshas was written by Vishak Dutt. Option 2 is the right answer of this question. Shudrak wrote Mrichkattikam. Kalidasa wrote so many books like Vikramovarshiyam, Abhigyan Shakuntalam, the famous play. So in this manner, Mudra Rakshas was written by Vishak Dutt. So the right answer of this question is option 2. Let's move to the next question. This is our third question. The fourth Buddhist conference was organized during the reign of which ruler? Fourth Buddhist conference. 4 Buddhist conferences were organized. So if you talk about first, second, third, and fourth. First Buddhist conference was organized during the regime of Haryak ruler Ajat Shatru. And the place was Rajgriha. Then second Buddhist conference was organized during the regime of Kala Shok, and the name of the place was Vaishali. Third Buddhist conference was organized during the regime of the great Ashoka, and the place was Patliputra. And fourth Buddhist conference was organized during the regime of ruler Kanishk. Kushan ruler Kanishk, and the name of the place was Kundalwan, Kashmir. So in this question it is asked, the fourth Buddhist conference was organized during the reign of which ruler? So the right answer of this question is Kanishk. Let's move to the next question. This is another question taken from history, plain and simple question. Where is the Jantar Mantar situated? If we talk about Savai Jai Singh or Jai Singh II, who constructed or who built 5 Jantar Mantars, one in Jaipur, another second is in Delhi, third one is in Mathura, the fourth one is Banaras, and last one is in Ujjain. So Delhi, Jaipur, Mathura, Banaras, and Ujjain. So among these options, Jaipur is there. So Jaipur is the right answer of this question. Option third is the right answer of this question. Let's move to the next question. Which one of the following incidents happened first? In this question, it is asked that In among these incidents, first is non-cooperation movement, second is Quit India movement, third one is Simon Commission, and fourth one is personal satyagraha. Which incident took place first? So we will write dates. Non-cooperation movement, the time period of non-cooperation movement 1920 to 22. Then second one is Quit India movement. It was started in 1942. Then Simon Commission came to India in 1928, and the last one, personal satyagraha, in 1940. In this manner, first of all, which incident took place? So non-cooperation movement initiated by Mahatma Gandhi. This incident took place first. So the right answer of this question is non-cooperation movement, option first. Let's move to the next question. This is our question number 6. It's plain and simple question. Which one of the following was not related to the Seeker peasant movement? Seeker peasant movement, which was very famous. It's a part of syllabus in class 10th RBSc. So we have 4 names. First is Chetram, second one is Tulsharam, third one is Tipuram, and fourth one is Devilal or Devilal. So among these, we have read about Seeker peasant movement. So we get these 3 names. Chetram, Tulsharam, and Tipuram among those who were the part of Seeker peasant movement. But absolutely, Devilal was not the part of Seeker peasant movement. So that is why the right answer of this question is option 4. Option 4. Right answer of this question is option 4. Let's move to the next question. Question number 7. This question has been taken from the chapter Industrial Revolution, the topic Industrial Revolution. First one is we have to match column 1 with column 2. If you see flying shuttle loom was invented by John Kay. Then after spinning jenny, it was invented by James Hargreaves. Then after water frame, if we talk about, it was by Richard Arkwright. And then after mule, it was invented by Samuel Crompton. So in this manner, the right answer, flying shuttle loom, was by John Kay. Then after spinning jenny by James Hargreaves. Then after water frame by Richard Arkwright, and mule by Samuel Crompton. So the right match is this one. Clear? Right match is option number 4 is the right answer. If you see here. Clear? Let's move to the next question. This is question number 8, taken from class 9th, Indus Valley Civilization, plain and simple question. We have given 4 locations here, and we have to identify that which of the location is not, which of the pair is not correct regarding the locations. In this question, if we see, Ropar is in Punjab, this is absolutely correct. Ropar is in Punjab, this is absolutely correct. Then after Lothal is matched with Haryana, this is absolutely wrong, because Lothal is not in Haryana. Lothal is a site of Indus Valley Civilization in India that is situated in Gujarat. So that is why it is mismatched. Then after Raghupur in Gujarat, it is absolutely correct. And Kalibanga, which was discovered by Amlanand Ghosh in 1953, it is absolutely correct. It is in Rajasthan. So 3 pairs are matched correctly, while 1 pair is not matched correctly. So the right answer of this question is Lothal, Haryana. Question number 8. Right answer is option 2, Lothal, Haryana. This is mismatched pair. Next, let's move to the next question. This is our question number 9. Which ruler of Bharatpur is called the Plato of the Jat caste? Which ruler of Bharatpur is known as the Plato of the Jat caste? The Plato of Jats or the Plato of Jat caste? Which of the ruler of Bharatpur is known as? We have given 4 options. Number 1, Raja Ram. Second one is Surajmal. Third one is Badan Singh. And fourth one is Chudaman. You have read that the Jats of Bharatpur are quite prominent in India, especially during the period of modern history. So if we talk about the ruler which is known as the Plato of the Jat caste, so popularly the most famous ruler Surajmal is known as Maharaja Surajmal or Maharaja Sujan Singh, known as the Plato of Jat caste. Clear? So that is why the correct option of this question is, the correct answer of this question is option 2. Maharaja Surajmal is known as the Plato of Jat caste. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 10. This is our question. It's another plain and simple question. It's another plain and simple question taken from world history. After the end of First World War, we know that very well that First World War took place between 1914 to 1918. So after the end of First World War, which treaty was made with Germany? There was a treaty which signed with Germany. There were two groups. One group was of allies and the another group was of Central Powers. So in First World War, Allies won the First World War, and then after winning the First World War, Allies made a treaty with Germany, and that treaty was very humiliating for Germany. And Hitler was known for taking revenge of this treaty in Second World War. So which was the treaty? Treaty of Versailles. Second option, Treaty of Triana, Treaty of Neuilly, and Treaty of Berlin. We have given four options. So the correct option, we know very well, in 1918, the treaty which was signed between Allied and Germany after at the end of First World War, that is the Treaty of Versailles. Treaty of Versailles. So in this manner, the right answer of this question is option first. Option first is the right answer of this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 11. And it's another plain and simple question. It's another plain and simple question taken from history, reformation in Indian social system. Who was the publisher of Samvad Kaumudi? Who was the publisher of Samvad Kaumudi? So if we see the first option, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was associated with the publication of two newspapers, Maratha and Kesari. Then second name is Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the pioneer of modern India. It is absolutely correct. Raja Ram Mohan Roy is associated with the publication of Samvad Kaumudi. So the right answer of this question is option 2. Right answer of this question is option 2. Raja Ram Mohan Roy is associated with the publication of Samvad Kaumudi. Dayanand Saraswati, founder of Arya Samaj, clear, and Mahatma Gandhi, the great political leader. So the right answer of this question is option 2, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Question number 12. Which Prime Minister of India called multi-purpose water projects as the temple of modern India? Multi-purpose river valley projects were called as the modern temples of India by which Prime Minister? If you see in the answer of this question, just after the independence of India, so many multi-purpose river valley projects were started to comply the problem of shortage of water and to provide water to irrigational activities. So which Prime Minister of India called multi-purpose water projects? So many dams were constructed. Which Prime Minister? So it's plain and simple question taken from the chapter of water resources. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru called multi-purpose water projects as the temple of modern India. So the right answer of this question is option first. Let's move to the next question. Question number 13. It's another plain and very simple question taken from chapter of agriculture. Rabi crop. We have given four options and we have to identify that which of the options is an example of Rabi crops. Rice, gram, maize and soybean. If you see, rice is an example of Kharif crop. Then second is gram. Gram is known as the example of Rabi crop. Rice is known as Kharif crop mainly. Then maize is another example of Kharif crop, And the last one is soybean. It is also known as example of kharif crop. So in this question we have seen that rice, maize and soybean, these are the examples of kharif crops, while gram, that is called a chana, it is an example of rabi crop. Rabi crop means winter crops. Clear? So the right answer of this question is option second. Right answer of this question is option second. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Question number 14. We have this question. This question has been taken from the chapter of minerals. Which of the following is the copper mine situated in Rajasthan? So we have four options. Number one, Morija Banol. Morija Banol is associated with the production of iron ore. Then second one is Degana Bhakri. Degana Bhakri is associated with the production of tungsten. Then third one is Jawar. Jawar is associated with the production of lead and zinc. It is associated with the production of iron ore. Then Degana Bhakri is associated with tungsten. Then Jawar is associated with the production of lead and zinc. And the last one is Khetri Singhana, that is in Jhunjhunu district of Rajasthan. Khetri Singhana, copper Khetri, that is very popular. This is associated with the production of copper. This is associated with the production of copper. So if you see the answer of this question, in this question it is asked that which of the following location is associated with the production of copper in Rajasthan. So the right answer is Khetri Singhana. Khetri Singhana region in Jhunjhunu district of Rajasthan is associated with the production of copper. Hindustan Copper Limited, that is also named as. So the right answer of question number 14 is 4. Option 4 is the right answer. Let's move to the next question. Question number 15. This is our question number 15. In this question, we have to match the list 1 with list 2. These are the different plants, iron ore and steel plants. The first plant is Durgapur. You know very well, Durgapur steel plant is in West Bengal. Then Rourkela is in Odisha. Then third one is Bhilai. Bhilai is in Chhattisgarh, and Bokaro is in Jharkhand. And in this manner, if you see Durgapur in West Bengal, fourth. This one is then after Rourkela with Odisha, third. So both options are matching here. Then Bhilai is in Chhattisgarh. Then it is absolutely option first is the right matched pair. Option first is the right answer of this question. Durgapur in West Bengal, Rourkela in Odisha, Bhilai is in Chhattisgarh, and Bokaro is in Jharkhand. It is clear? This was the answer. Option number first. Let's move to the next question. Question number 16. This is our question. In this question, it is asked which of the following is the highest population density district of Rajasthan. We have given the name of 4 districts of Rajasthan, and it is asked that which of the district is having the highest population density in Rajasthan. You know very well, according to the census of 2011, Jaipur is on the top in the list of population density with the population density of 598. 598. Jaipur, that is the capital city. Jaipur is the highest population density district of Rajasthan with 598. Clear? So this was our plain and simple question, question number 16. Let's move to the next question, question number 16. This is very simple question. New Mangalore Seaport is located in which state of India? New Mangalore Seaport. So it's plain and simple. There is no need to discuss this question. New Mangalore Seaport is in Karnataka. New Mangalore Seaport is in Karnataka on the western coast. This seaport is located. We have given the name of the other 3 states like Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, we have Chennai Seaport and Tuticorin Seaport. Then in West Bengal, we have Kolkata Seaport, Haldia Seaport. And in Maharashtra, we have Jawaharlal Nehru Seaport. So the right answer of this question is Karnataka. Option first is the right answer of this question. New Mangalore Seaport is located in Karnataka. Let's move to the next question, question number 18. Question number 18. Question number 18 is very plain and simple. Which of the following is an atomic energy mineral? Atomic energy mineral, if you see, coal is not an example of atomic energy. Petroleum is not. Beryllium is absolutely, and natural gas is not. So if you see, coal, petroleum, and natural gas, these are not atomic energy minerals. These are conventional sources of energy. While beryllium is an example of atomic energy mineral. Beryllium is an example of atomic energy mineral. So the right answer of question number 18 is third. Right answer of question number 18 is third. Option third. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 19. In this question, it is asked, among the following, the latitudinal extension of Rajasthan. Latitudinal extension of Rajasthan, it is asked. ये पूछा गया हमसे कि latitudinal extension कितना है, तो you know very well कि राजस्थान का latitudinal extension जो है, it is 23 degree 3rd minute north latitude to 30 degree 12 minute north. This is 23 degree 3rd minute north latitude to 30 degree 12 minute north latitude. So among these options, option third is given as correct. 23 degree 3rd minute north latitude to 30 degree 12 minute north latitude is the correct latitudinal expansion of Rajasthan. So the right answer of this question is option third. Option third is the right answer of this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 20. This is our question number 20. In this question, we have given the name of 4 rivers of peninsular India, and we have to identify that which of the following river is falling into Arabian Sea. Clear? So if you see, first river is Tapti. So Tapti river falls into Arabian Sea. Tapti river falls into Arabian Sea. Krishna river falls into Bay of Bengal. Then third one is Kaveri. Same, falls into Bay of Bengal, and Mahanadi also falls into Bay of Bengal. So in this manner, if you see, among these 4 rivers, only Tapti river, that is also named as Tapi river, falls into Arabian Sea. So the right answer of this question is option number 1. Tapti river falls into Arabian Sea. Let's move to the next question, question number 21. This is our question number 21. What is Mawat? You know very well, due to cyclonic disturbances, rainfall which happens in winter season, that is called as Mawat. So we will try to find out the answer. We have given 4 options. And these 4 options are: number 1, rainfall near the Malabar coast in summer season. Absolutely it is wrong. Warm winds which blow in Rajasthan in summer season. Warm winds which blow in Rajasthan in summer season, these are known as Lu. So that is why it is absolutely wrong. Then after, rainfall due to Mediterranean cyclones in winter season, it is absolutely correct. And last one is cyclones of the Arabian Sea. So among these 4, right definition of Mawat is rainfall in winter season due to Mediterranean cyclones. Due to Mediterranean cyclones, rainfall which take place in winter season, that is called as Mawat, which is very beneficial for Rabi crops. That is called as Mawat. So the right answer of this question is option third. Rainfall due to Mediterranean cyclones in winter season. That is the right answer. Let's move to the next question, question number 22. This is very simple question. Which tree is known as Kalp Vriksh in Rajasthan? Which tree in Rajasthan is known as Kalp Vriksh? That is very important, especially in the climatic conditions of Rajasthan. We have given 4 options: Rohida, straight tree, then after Care, Then after Ber, and last one is Khejdi. So this is plain and simple question. Khejdi is known as Khejdi, Prosopis cinerea, or this is the scientific name of Khejdi tree. This is Khejdi is found in abundance in Rajasthan because this tree requires less amount of water, and that is very important. It is used as fodder for animals. So that is why Kalpa Vraksh in Rajasthan is known as Khejdi. Kalpa Vraksh is known as Khejdi. Khejdi is known as Kalpa Vraksh. Khejdi. So right answer of this question is question number 24, option 4. Let's move to the next question, question number 23. This is question number 23. Among the following, who is a supporter of the pluralistic theory of democracy? This question has been taken from the chapter Democracy, and we are asked to the fact that which of the following is the supporter of pluralistic theory of democracy. So if you see, the right answer of this question is H.J. Lasky, because J.S. Mill and T.H. Green and Hobbes, these all J.S. Mill, T.H. Green and Hobbes, all are the supporters of traditional theory of democracy. Traditional theory. These all are the supporters of traditional theory, while H.J. Lasky was the supporter of pluralistic theory. So that is why the right answer of this question is option 4, H.J. Lasky. Clear? Let's move to the next question. Question number 24. Who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not? This is the question taken from chapter Central Government. Who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not? We have given 4 options. First option is Prime Minister, then second is President, then after Speaker of Lok Sabha, and last one is Vice President. We know very well when we read about the powers and functions of the Speaker of Lok Sabha, then we read that this power is given under Article number 109 and 110. This power to decide that whether a bill is money bill or not, this power is given to the Speaker of Lok Sabha, that is mentioned in the Article number 93 of the Indian Constitution. So the right answer of this question is Speaker of Lok Sabha. Speaker of Lok Sabha will decide that whether a bill is money bill or not. So the plain and simple answer of this question is Speaker of Lok Sabha. Option 3rd is the right answer of this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 25. The question number 25 is, who has the right to declare a subject of the state list of national importance? We have read that there are 3 lists: union list, second list is state list, and third one is concurrent list. So question is, who has the right to declare a subject of state list to national importance? That which of these can declare a subject of state list as this national importance? So if you see, number 1 Rajya Sabha, second is Lok Sabha, third one is state legislative assembly, then fourth one is state legislative assembly. These both options are absolutely not state legislative assembly or not legislative council. Then we have to see that whether it is Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. When we read about the powers of Rajya Sabha, we have read that some of the powers given to Rajya Sabha, which are very special, Article number 249 and Article number 312. Article number 249 and Article number 312. These are 2 special powers given to Rajya Sabha only. These powers are not given to Lok Sabha. So under Article number 249, if you see, there is a provision that if Rajya Sabha wants, then it can declare any subject of state list as the subject of national importance. So the right answer of this question is option first Rajya Sabha. Option first Rajya Sabha is the right answer of this question. Rajya Sabha has the right to declare a subject of state list of national importance for 1 year, and then in that situation, after passing of this, Lok Sabha or the Parliament has the right to make law on the subject of state list for 1 year. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 26. At present, how many high courts? At present, how many high courts are there in India? We have options. Option first is 22, then second is 24, 26 and 29. Right now, the number of high courts are 25. You should be updated, but according to the question, if you see, the most appropriate answer is option 24. According to the options, 24 high courts are there. So the right answer of this question is option second, 24. Option second, 24. 24 high courts are there in total in India, but you should be updated. Right now, the number of high courts are 25. After the division of the state Andhra Pradesh into two parts, Simandra and Telangana, we have 25 high courts. But according to the options, if you see, the number of high courts are 24 only. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 27. The question number 27 is taken from chapter State Government. In this question, what is asked? Which of the following are included in the state government? Which of the following are included in the state government? If you see, option number 1, we have governor, cabinet, and chief minister. Governor, cabinet, and chief minister. You will see each government has its 3 organs: legislative, executive, and judiciary. So if you see, this is not. Then second is judiciary, executive, and chief minister. This is not, because chief minister is a part of executive body itself. So that is why this option is not there, the answer. Then third one is state legislature, then executive and judiciary. It is being most appropriate answer. And the last one is cabinet, state legislature, and governor. Governor is a kind of part of legislature automatically. So the best answer of this question, most appropriate answer of this question is state legislature, executive, and judiciary. Option third is the most appropriate answer of this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 28. Under which article of the Constitution each high court has been established as a court of records? Supreme Court is also a court of record. Then after High Court is also considered as a court of record. So in this question, it is asked that which article of the Indian Constitution states that High Court is a court of record. So it's a very plain and simple question. If you read the chapter State Government, in that chapter it is given in judiciary, when we read about high courts, Article 215 states that a high court is considered as a court of record. So this statement that each high court has been established as a court of record, it is mentioned in article number 215. So the right answer of this question 28 is option first, article 215. Let's move to the next question, question number 29. Question number 29 is, which fundamental right is given by the Constitution of India to protect all fundamental rights? In part number 3rd of Indian Constitution, article number 12 to 35, we have been provided with 6 fundamental rights. Earlier, these were 7, but in 1978, by the amendment number 44, one fundamental right to property was removed. And then after now, we have 6 fundamental rights. First one is right to equality, then right to freedom, then after right against exploitation, right to religious freedom, then after cultural and linguistic rights, and the last one is right to constitutional remedies. But in this question, it is asked that which fundamental right is there to protect all the fundamental rights? To protect all the fundamental rights. You know very well, article number 32, right to constitutional remedies. Article number 32 is there to protect the above 5 fundamental rights. So the right answer of this question is option 2, right to constitutional remedies. That was also entitled as The Heart and the Soul of Indian Constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So the right answer of this question is option 2, right to constitutional remedies. Article number 32. Option second is the right answer. Let's move to the next question. Question number 30. The highest unit of Panchayati Raj system. We have 3-tier system of government in our country: union government, then after state government, and then after local self government or Panchayati Raj. Then after we have 2 parts of Panchayati Raj in rural areas and in urban areas. If you see in rural areas, the highest unit of Panchayati Raj, then it is in a pyramid shape. Then first of all there is Jila Parishad. Then after Jila Parishad there is Panchayat Samiti. Panchayat Samiti, that is also named as block. Then after Gram Panchayat. And then last one is Gram Sabha. Clear? So in this manner, the highest unit of Panchayati Raj system in rural structure, in rural area, that is Jila Parishad. So the right answer of this question is Jila Parishad. Option first is the right answer of this question, Jila Parishad. Let's move to the next question, question number 31. When was the minimum age of 18 years for franchise implemented in India? Right to vote. The minimum age for right to vote was decided as 18 in which year? It is asked in this question. If you talk about earlier, the minimum age for right to vote was 21 years, but in 1918 it was reduced to 18. In 1918, by amendment number 60, in 1918, the minimum age for right to vote was reduced from 21 to 18 by amendment number 61 in Indian Constitution. Amendment number 61st in Indian Constitution, through which in 1989, during the Prime Ministership of Rajiv Gandhi, the minimum age for voting was reduced from 21 to 18. Earlier it was 21, but in 1989 a constitutional amendment was made, and then after it was decided to 18. Clear? Right now we have minimum age fixed for right to vote is 18. So the right answer of this question is option 4, 1989. Let's move to the next question, question number 32. Question number 32 is, which Indian politician played an important role to make non-alignment as a movement? This question is related to world politics as well as the foreign policy of India just after independence, and this question is about non-alignment movement, the policy of NAM. In 1947, when India got independence, at that time across the world, Second World War was almost completed and Cold War was begun between two great powers of the world. On one side there was America, on the another side USSR was there, and in between these two powers Cold War was going on, and it was a great challenge for India and Indian government to decide their independent foreign policy. At that time there was a leader named as Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, decided that they are not going to join any of the group, whether it is American group or USSR group. They are not going to join any of the group, and they brought together all the African and Asian countries together and formed a stage that is called as NAM, Non-Alignment Movement. They started, So Jawaharlal Nehru had a very important role in the successful of non-alignment movement, means not to align any of the group. In a very simple language, if you say non-alignment movement means not to join any of the group which were participating in Cold War. Clear? So the right answer of this question is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru played an important role in making the policy of NAM. Option first is the right answer. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru played the most important role. There were 5 leaders across the world. From India, Jawaharlal Nehru. From Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. From Indonesia, Sukarno. Then from Egypt, Abdul Gamal Nasir, and from Yugoslavia, Joseph Broz Tito. So these were 5 founder figures of NAM. And from India, Jawaharlal Nehru was the leader. Let's move to the next question, question number 33. This question has been taken from the chapter Constitution, the making of Indian Constitution. And in this question, we have to match column 1 with column 2. And permanent chairman, option first is permanent chairman of the Constituent Assembly. We know very well that who was the permanent chairman of Constituent Assembly. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the permanent chairman of Constituent Assembly. So we will match it with option B, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Then after legal advisor of the Constituent Assembly, B.N. Rao was the legal advisor of the Constituent Assembly. So the right option is first. Then third one is chairman of the drafting committee. Chairman of the drafting committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of drafting committee. There were total 7 members in drafting committee, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of it. So the right answer option is 4th. And temporary chairman of Constituent Assembly. The temporary chairman of Constituent Assembly was Sachidanand Sinha, who was elected as temporary chairman of Constituent Assembly on 9 December 1946, which was the inaugural day of Constituent Assembly, the working of Constituent Assembly. So in this manner, we will try to get the answer. Option A is matching with op 2. Then after matching with 2, then B is with first, then C is with 4th, and D is with 3rd. So the right answer of this question is option 2. Option 2 is the right answer of this question. Permanent chairman was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Legal advisor was Dr. B.N. Rao. The chairman of drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and temporary chairman was Sachidanand Sinha. Clear. Let's move to the next question, question number 34. The nation with a capitalist economy. We have given 4 options. If you see, first is Russia, then second one is China, third one is Japan, and 4th one is Bulgaria. So if you see which of the following options is an example of capitalist economy. So Russia is an example of mixed economy. The same situation is there in China. Then after Japan. Japan is an example of capitalist economy right now. So the right answer of this question is Japan. The same situation is there in Bulgaria. But Japan is the most appropriate answer of this question. Japan is an example of capitalist economy. So the right answer of this question number 34 is 3rd, Japan. Let's move to the next question, question number 35. Question number 35 is the White Revolution is related to which of the following? Production of eggs, production of milk, production of sugar, or production of rice. So if you see White Revolution that is also named as Operation Flood. Operation Flood. And the father of White Revolution was Dr. Verghese Kurian. Clear? So this revolution, White Revolution or Operation Flood, is associated with the production of milk and milk products. It is very clear, simple question. Or White Revolution is associated with the production of milk. So the right answer of this question is option 2, production of milk is the right answer of this question. Clear? Let's move to the next question, question number 36. This is question number 36. The institution calculating national income in India. Which of the following institute is responsible for the calculation of national income in India? We have given 4 options. Number 1, Central Statistical Organization, CSO. This is known as, in short. Then second is Finance Commission. Then third one is Central Bank, that is RBI in India. And the last one is Niti Aayog. So if you see these 4 options, the organization or the institution which is responsible for the calculation of national income in India, that is CSO, Central Statistical Organization, CSO. So the option first is the right answer of this question. Let's move to the next question, question number 37. The question number 37 is the World Trade Organization, that is known as WTO, was established on which date? You ask. 1st January 1935? No, it is absolutely wrong. 1st April 1935? It is absolutely wrong. Then now we have 2 options. 1st of January 1995 and second 1st of April 1995. So the right answer of this question is 1st of January 1995. 1st of January 1995, WTO was founded in place of GATT. Before, there was an agreement that is called a General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. It was abolished, and in place of GATT, in place of General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, WTO was established on 1st of January 1995. Clear? So the right answer of this question is option 3rd is the right answer. Option 3rd is the right answer. 1st January 1995. Let's move to the next question, question number 38. The region of inflation in India is, what is inflation? Inflation means the rise in general price level of commodities continuously. It is known as inflation, that is called as mudrasfiti. So we have to find out the region responsible for high inflation in India. Number 1 is rapid growth in agricultural production. It is not absolutely. Second is rapid growth in industrial production. It is not absolutely. Then third one is low level of public expenditure. It is not. The last one is high level of public expenditure. If we read the chapter, this is given as a reason behind the problem of inflation in India. So the right answer of this question is option 4, high level of public expenditure. Clear? So right answer is option 4, high level of public expenditure in India. Government has to spend a lot of money on public facilities like medical, health, education, etc., etc. So this is. Now, the next question, question number 39. The question number 39. The question number 39 is institutional source of credit is. We know very well that there are two types of sources of credit: institutional and non-institutional sources of credit. So we will try to get that which is example of non-institutional and which is an example of institutional. The first is money lender. Money lender is an example of institutional or non-institutional. Money lender is an example of non-institutional. Then second one is self-help group. It is also an example of non-institutional. Then second one is commercial bank, and it is an example of institutional. And last one is a trader. It is an example of non-institutional. And we have to tell that which of the following is an example of non-institutional source of credit. Commercial bank is an example of institutional source of credit, or known as formal source of credit. So the right answer of this question is option 3rd, commercial bank. Commercial bank is an example of institutional source of credit or formal source of credit. So the right answer of this question is option 3rd, commercial bank. Let's move to the last question, question number 40. and this question has been taken from Consumer Rights and Legal Awareness. In India, cases of goods more than 1 crore of rupees can be filed by the consumer in block form. There is nothing like block form. Then after district form, State Commission or National Consumer Protection Commission. So we have already read that if there is the case of goods more up to 20 lakh, if you see the case is related to up to 20 lakh, then we can file complaint in district consumer form. In district consumer form. And if the case is more than 20 lakh, more than 20 lakh, more than 20 lakh and less than 1 crore, then we can go to State Commission. Clear? State Commission. And then if there is a case of goods more than 1 crore, then we can file complaint to National Consumer Protection Commission. And in our question, it is given that goods more than 1 crore of rupees can be filed by the consumer in which court? So this is National Consumer Protection Commission. So the right answer of this question is option 4, National Consumer Protection Commission. National Consumer Protection Commission, option 4. So this was our question paper. In this manner, we have done the solution of 40 questions which were the part of question paper in NTSC 2019 Stage 1 examination. Thank you.